The Defenders sees the team up of the Marvel Netflix characters from all the way back from 2015. They're the TV Avengers. And right from the get-go, before I give you any of my thoughts, if you're blinder than Daredevil and you haven't read the text in parentheses in this title, this is a heavy spoiler review. So back out now if you haven't watched the show. I want to say if you actually are visually impaired, then I'm deeply sorry and I meant no offense. But if you aren't and just didn't see it, then damn, be more careful next time. This thing is gonna be more spoiled than your younger sibling in the next few minutes. The story follows your iconic heroes. Catman, a PTSD patient, male She-Hulk, and a ballet teacher. They find themselves in a heap of trouble after pursuing their own solo missions in New York. And when that one common enemy enters the field, the four of them must come together to take down the intimidating clan that is the Hand. Cause sitting there being antisocial glued onto their cell phones, like millennial degenerates nowadays, ain't gonna cut it this time around. I've been waiting for the Defenders for 2 years now, and after the amazing shows that were Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, I almost went into this one with very high expectations. But like a lot of people, Iron Fist didn't sit very well with me, so that kinda guided things back to something a little more realistic. And I've got to say, for the most part, The Defenders was a pretty kick-ass time. In terms of acting, it's barely even a problem. Kristen Ritter and Mike Coulter as Jessica Jones and Luke Cage respectively are phenomenal as always. Charlie Cox, man, that guy is the quintessential Daredevil. He's like that one teacher that gave you an extra recess during class. You could always get a different teacher, but he or she will never be as cool as Mr. Murdoch. The way they play off each other, how Jessica, the don't-give-a-damn person, actually bounces when things get insane, or when Luke laughs at the stupid comic book fiction trash that comes out of Danny's mouth, or when Matthew is reluctant to unveil his mask in front of everyone. Things like that is what makes this team up believable. They're not all like,
"Aw, shoot, that's the same shawty that done wrestle you up like an alligator?" "Damn right, son. We best friends now. I trust you with all my secrets. Here, hold my D, for show."
Even the awesome supporting characters, Rosario Dawson, Deborah Ann Wool, Scott Glenn, Rachel Taylor, Eldon Henson, Ika Darville, and of course the brilliant Jessica Henwick kill it in their roles. Finn Jones as Danny Rand was okay in Iron Fist, and here, for me personally, he was also okay. I'll get more into him soon. There's one part in particular in this show where Stick is giving backstory on the Hand. The old grandpa dude went on about how the Hand was responsible for the volcano eruption of Pompeii, and some other cover-up catastrophes. Some will say those kinds of things are cliche, but I for one love that stuff. I dig when they implement iconic historical events into this universe. It adds a whole new layer of realism to it. It's like when Claw in the Black Panther trailer said Wakanda was El Dorado, or when a news article in the second Cap movie stated that the Winter Soldier was responsible for the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Hell, X-Men took their own spin on it and depicted Magneto killing that same guy. My point is that it's like the Tooth Fairy. They tell you it's real with the whole real-world connection BS with the fake fiction, but you know it's fake. And that still doesn't phase your experience. Spoiler alert for the Tooth Fairy, by the way, to my viewers under the age of 10. Sigourney Weaver, the great actress herself, too makes it in this show. She plays the ancient head honcho of the Hand, and she's one of the two main antagonists of the Defenders. The filmmakers were not only able to make her physically imposing, but also psychologically threatening at the same time. Weaver offered this extra presence to the role. You know that feeling when you miss that extra step on the staircase? Yeah, that's the feeling you have for an elongated amount of time when she's in the room. I couldn't really see anyone else being able to do that. They even humanize her through her acts of desperation and conflict with the other leading members of the Hand. Cause you've been in group projects before. Those things always end up with fights and swords being thrown around when shit hits the fan. Madame Gao makes a return and she has the full-on force in this show. She straight up went,
"I hereby cast you off, Ronald Weasley."
Elektra also played a key role in this. Right before Stick was gonna die, a part of me thought they wouldn't kill him cause, you know, it's Marvel. But then I remembered this was the Netflix series, and basically anything goes. So rip. I liked her involvement in this show a lot more than I did from Daredevil Season 2, because I thought that her character took away from the Punisher-Daredevil dynamic, and overall bogged down the pace of those 13 episodes. Here though, with her being the central part of the story, she not only carries the show at times, but she's also shown to be a force to be reckoned with. She decapitated the only person that actually cared about her. That's like answering the question, Bob has 36 candy bars, he eats 29, what he got now? With diabetes. Who does that? That's savage as hell, man. I wasn't really surprised that much when Matt survived the collapsing building cause Daredevil Season 3 was announced like a year ago. To be honest, I was much more shocked that the elevator Jessica let go of didn't give him a brain hemorrhage from that piercing elevator crash. The visual and sound effects are fantastic as always. They're implemented so well into the show that you can never really tell which scenes are with CGI, and which of those aren't. Iron Fist's glowing hand is visually beautiful as always, and the severed arms and legs never looked like one of those PlayStation 1 polygonal cutscenes, so that's always a plus. The score in the intro was also very reminiscent of the Daredevil theme song, yet it had its own ring to it, which is a good thing. But as good as this show was, it's not perfect. I'd say that it lies in between that line between good and great. Let's start with one of the bigger, glaring gripes I have with this show. Finn Jones as the Iron Fist. His acting did get progressively better as the episodes went on, but he's still doing that thing where he's coming off more as arrogant than naive. Even when everyone on the same side as him in that warehouse scene agreed on one plan, he goes out of his way to get things his way. Granted, you could argue that it's the way his character is written and you could see where he's coming from, but at times he was like you when you cried as a kid. You know, when someone told you to shut up and stop crying, but you legit couldn't because your body just needed to spastically sniffle? He can get on the annoying side at times, especially when he's going around telling people 24/7 that we get it. At this point, it's like he's telling neighbors water is wet. I think Iron Fist works best when he's interacting with other heroes. Like when the team got together at the Dragon Restaurant, he was essentially the heart of the team, the one that was the easiest to be convinced of joining the Defenders. I don't think they should make him such a super serious character, as the fun, lighthearted guy is much more enjoyable to see on screen. It especially works with Finn Jones' strengths and weaknesses as an actor. In the beginning of the show, here's the best way I can phrase it. The first episode of The Defenders is not the first episode of The Defenders. The first episode is the lost 14th episode for each standalone series. It's the DLC of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. For the entirety of that pilot, none of the Defenders ever interact with each other. It's all basically just setup and plot exposition galore. I feel like they should have mixed episode 1 and 2 together for a more coherent flow of storytelling in the beginning so that they could keep the pace consistent throughout the show. On another note, the character of Misty Knight sort of rid the line of a nuisance. She'd be there to serve as a roadblock to keep the team from saving the city, and then the next second she says she'd stall for them, and then she'd coincidentally rat someone out by calling their cell phone and bicker them to death. The actress did a fine job, but the character herself, I don't know, she just got in the way of the plot a lot. But on the bright side, Danny Rand's fight scenes are miles ahead of whatever those abominations were in Iron Fist Season 1. They were a little iffy on the first episode, with a whole lot of cuts and minimal lighting, but 70 to 75% of them were truly mesmerizing. Specifically that fight within the building in the third episode, and the final fight sequence underground. Aside from a semi-lengthy one-shot take of the underground fight scene, there was no ridiculously artistic one-long take fight scene like the hallway session or the stairwell scene from Daredevil. Nevertheless, the collab fisticuff clips were astounding. A little tangent real quick. This isn't really a complaint, and I get that they needed to bring him back for the plot, but why does the Bakudo guy always look super high whenever he acts on screen? I'm not the best at pointing out Easter eggs, but there was a still shot of a Stan Lee poster on one of the street posters when Jessica's walking down the street. Some thematic color differences whenever a character's on screen. Daredevil would have more red lighting as opposed to Jessica, who had more purple lighting in the background. Iron Fist sports a similar tracksuit to his comic book counterpart, except, you know, minus the yellow mask and flamboyant popped-up collar. I'd imagine he would put on a similar black mask to that of Daredevil's original one when looking over Hell's Kitchen while Daredevil's away. And then when Matt returns, he tells him to keep the headpiece. The new look suits him, but then maybe he'd recommend dyeing it yellow to match his hand or something. And Maggie Murdock, Matt's mama that dipped on him when he was a kid, is teased at the end of the series. So I'd love to see where they'd go with that in Daredevil Season 3. Ultimately, the Defenders clearly got better as it went on. It's no Daredevil Season 1 and it does have a slow start, but I think it's definitely worth the watch. And I definitely say I pay twice the Netflix subscription to watch it again. Oh god, I'm gonna be broke. So what do you think about the Defenders Season 1? Did you love it? Maybe you hated it. Who's your favorite Defender? Mine coincidentally goes in order accordingly to when each character's standalone series came out. Sound off in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Anyways, beautiful, I hope you're having a wonderful day and don't forget to smile more often. It invites more happy people into your life and possibly lifelong friends. If you found this video great, then by all means, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Also, consider following me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And for more of my videos, just click right here.